Hi friends, very good evening. Could you please confirm in the chat window if I'm visible and audible so that I know that there are no technical glitches. As usual, I'm a few minutes early. I just want to make sure that there are no technical glitches. So could you please confirm in the chat window if everything looks all right? Hey, sorry to keep you waiting, folks. You'll have to wait for 4 more minutes because the scheduled time for this is 7 p.m. So let's wait for everyone to jump in. And I promise you, we'll start it at 7 sharp. Okay, cool. And I hope everybody is taking care of themselves and their families because of the second COVID wave. It's extremely important that you stay safe, follow the COVID protocol everywhere you go. Even though in some states and regions and union territories, a lockdown is not imposed, it's better that we self-impose a lockdown on ourselves just for our own safety. Okay, so we have had some of our teammates, because we have been working completely remotely from March of last year. So all of our team is completely dispersed across India. So some of our teammates fell sick and some of our students fell sick. So it's very heartbreaking to see the news and also to see our own mentors and team members falling sick. So please, for heaven's sake, let's do our part. Okay, let's do our part and please stay safe. I mean, nothing hurts more than a family member or you falling sick for 2 or even 4 weeks, or maybe 6 weeks also. So please stay safe. At least on my personal front, I'm almost in the lockdown 1, lockdown 2 mode. So cool. Very good. So we'll get started, folks. It's 6:57 p.m. on my clock. So we'll wait for 3 more minutes and we will jump into the session itself at 7 p.m. Again, just to give you an overview, we had a small plan. Again, in the description section of this live session, you can see a Google document with the detailed plan till October. We also have a plan post-October till the GATE exam. So please go through that. And very importantly, I will discuss that plan and then we'll spend ample amount of time on Q&A. Okay. So cool. 1 second. Do you advise students? Again, I'll take a few random questions from the chat window now because we're still waiting for everyone to join in. So this is from someone who asks, do you advise students with 2 years work experience, not satisfied in the job, to start GATE preparation or focus on skills for job change? Again, there is no right answer to this question. If you're very passionate about pursuing an advanced degree, obtaining cutting edge skills from top universities and then doing a career transfer, that's one path. There is no one right path. I've seen, I've worked with a lot of folks in the industry. There are some people who have taken the GATE path, who are not happy after 2 years of experience. They've gone through the GATE path. There are others who let's assume you're working at a services company, they go to a product-based startup, build their skills, become better at software engineering or whatever skill they're picking up. It could be data science, whatever it is, and slowly work their way up to the top product-based companies. So there is no one right path here. Like I've seen people take both paths and succeed. Remember, GATE is a competitive exam, so you have to prepare for the competition. Okay. Again, even your job interviews at top product-based companies are fairly competitive. It's not going to be easy. So the amount of effort that you will put in both these paths would be roughly the same. But there are 2 different paths and there is no right answer to this, to be honest with you. Because I've seen people who worked at service-based companies work their way up to engineering teams and data science teams at companies like Amazon, and they've done phenomenally well in their careers. So there is no one right answer here. That's what I'm trying to mention. Okay. So Sohail asks something about scholarship test. I'll come to that. I have made some notes. I will update you on that also. So Tejas, I'll tell you about what is an iteration. I'll just tell you that. Don't worry. I just want everybody to join in so that I don't have to repeat myself. Okay, I'll surely answer that. So Bitu asks a very nice question. Should I read reference book after completing the videos of a subject? Again, Bitu, if you have time on your side, it's always good to read a standard textbook if you have time. But what we have done in creating our course content is we have taken 3 or 4 textbooks for every subject and took all the material relevant to GATE and made the videos based on that. Right? So if you have time, you should always try and read a standard textbook or a reference book. Try and do that. But if you don't have time, that's still okay. We have seen a lot of students who have not referred to any textbook because of constraints of time and have done phenomenally well, by the way, in GATE last year and the year before that. So Keshav asks a question about test series. I'll also answer that in the live session. I've made some notes of it. Okay. So Harsh says that you failed in GATE 2021. Harsh, remember one very fundamental thing. If you've put in good amount of effort for GATE 2021, even if you've failed, that's okay. Because what you've learned, the skills that you've learned, the core foundational computer science skills or the problem solving skills that you've picked up, stay with you for a very long time. So one option is, if you're still confident and if you know what your weaknesses are, if you want to put in effort, you can always prepare for GATE 2022. If you don't want to prepare also, the foundations that you learn, whether it's data structures, algorithms, databases, time and space complexity, mathematics, problem solving skills, they will stay with you for a life. Don't think of GATE as a waste of time in case you don't crack it. Because I've seen a lot of people who have not cracked GATE but have become very successful over a period of time in their careers. Because their problem solving skills and core computer science knowledge has helped them crack better companies. Suppose somebody joined at a services company. These skills help them crack slightly better jobs the first time, then in a staircase manner, right? So they go from services-based companies to product-based startups, then to tier 2 product-based companies, then top product-based companies over a period of time. So the skills that you have learned are never wasted. So don't feel bad about it. Okay, cool. So it's 7:02. Let's get started, folks. Once again, those of you who have just joined in the last few minutes, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today. So what we will do is we will share a quick plan of action that we have designed, which you can participate with us as a course enrolled student or otherwise. I'll just share those details with you. The link to the Google Sheet is there in the description section of this live session. So first I'll just explain that there are a bunch of random points that I made note of. I will answer all of that, and at the end of it we'll have a Q&A. So many questions that you're asking are already part of the notes that I've prepared, right? So first let's go and tackle this whole plan of action, right? So I'll start sharing my screen first. Okay, I hope everybody can see my screen. Okay, you should be able to see my screen now. Okay, so cool. Yeah, so this is the Google Doc that I wanted to run you through. I'll explain this doc quickly. Just give me a second. I may not need this itself, so I'll just use my pointer. So this is a Google Sheet which will be publicly accessible. So what we have is we have the series of live sessions. Okay, dismiss. Okay, we have a series of live sessions that we will conduct for GATE CSE 2022. This is the first iteration of live sessions. Last year we did something very similar to this, and let me check if there is any issue in the chat window. So no issues, right? So you're able to see my screen. Okay, cool. So okay. So last year we have done similar live sessions where we solved a bunch of problems for every topic one by one, and that was extremely helpful for students. Both are course enrolled students, and some of these live sessions were publicly available, and hence they were helpful for non-course enrolled students also. So we will do the same thing this year also. So when I say first iteration, I mean this is the first iteration in which we will cover all the subjects once, right? So this is starting today, which is 1st May, and the last date on this is sometime in October, if I'm not wrong, middle of October, right? So by middle of October, if you work with us and if you follow this course of action or this plan, then we can complete each subject. There is ample amount of time to complete each subject, and then we'll have some live sessions. When I say the second iteration of sessions will start once the first iteration is completed. Last year, if I recall well, the first iteration was completed by late September. In the second iteration, we did full-length subjects. Okay. So, by the way, these live sessions, some of them will be publicly available on YouTube for everyone, for everyone's benefit. Some of them will be accessible only to our course enrolled students. So, for example, today's live session is just an overview of plan of action, and I should also say Q&A, right? Q&A, right? Plus Q&A. Okay, let me just edit that. Okay. So, simple Q&A on Tuesday, which is, again, we are trying to do these sessions on Tuesday. So on the coming Tuesday, we wanted to discuss about how to improve problem solving skills for GATE. This is a very common question that we get asked by students, because some students learn the concepts but they're not able to solve problems. Then on the next Tuesday, which is the 11th of May, we will do the first live session on theory of computation, where these are the topics that we will cover. Now, very importantly, if you already know these concepts, if you have already studied these concepts, please revise them, and we will interactively solve about 7 to 8 problems, right? So again, some of these problems, like at least 2 problems in this will be slightly harder. Again, as you might notice, in the last 2 years or so, GATE exam slightly has become more trickier, not harder, but medium level hardness with trickier questions. So we will have at least 2 such questions in every live session. So for example, on the 11th of May, in this live session, on these topics, we will try and solve 8 problems. In these problems, you will have at least 2 slightly harder or trickier questions. Our focus here is not just to solve the questions, but how to avoid silly mistakes when you solve problems related to these topics, and how to improve your problem solving skills related to these topics, right? So this will be roughly like a 1-hour live session. Again, you will find some of these live sessions on our YouTube channel from last year also. They'll be very similar, but this year we are also trying to focus not just on an interactive problem solving, but also to discuss about how to improve your problem solving skills for every topic, how to avoid silly mistakes for every topic as much in depth as possible, right? Again, if you notice, the order of these subjects has been designed in such a way that the more scoring subjects, again, you can see it on our YouTube channel, you'll see that that we have given an order of subjects that you can choose to prepare, because theory of computation is one of the easier subjects, very scoring subjects. That's why we are covering theory of computation first. Then digital logic design is also fairly easy and it's very scoring. So we are going based on the order that we recommend you to learn and prepare for GATE. Same order we will proceed. So our suggestion is, if you have just started your GATE preparation, right, it will be good by 11th of May. Then in the next 10 days, if you can cover these concepts so that you can attend this interactive live session, participate in it. Nobody is scoring you for it, but it will be a good, like a team event for all of us, right? Again, just to make it clear, some of these live sessions will be publicly available for everyone on YouTube. Some of them will be limited only to our course enrolled students. Okay, so if you notice, there is weekly 1 live session, but there might be some week where if we think that, okay, we have not covered all the questions related to these topics well enough, we can also add 1 more live session. So there could be 1 or 2 live sessions depending on our coverage of questions. And there will also be some general Q&A sessions, general GATE discussion sessions also added to this. So at any point, if you want to know what are our live sessions, you can just come to this document and you will see what are the live sessions lined up. Okay, cool. So that's one. I've told you about second iteration. Yeah. So again, very importantly, many of the questions that we will solve in these live sessions are collected from best resources, from top universities, from standard textbooks, etc. They may not be unique. I just wanted to make that very clear. They may not be unique because we design unique questions mostly for mock tests. So these questions will be modified versions of what you see in textbooks, previous year questions, and equally importantly from top universities, midterm exams, semester end exams, assignments, etc. Right. So I hope again, please have a look at it. Suggest us new things that you want us to do. We'll try and accommodate as many live sessions as possible. So with that out of the way, okay, I hope everybody got this. 1 second. Okay, cool. So next thing is about, okay, I've made my notes here. Next thing is about test series that some of you are asking. So these test series, we will launch it in middle of June. Okay, so we will again announce this on our channel, just like our last year and the previous year to that. Mid-June is when we will have the test series launched. And again, you can see the videos from last year. This test series also will be very similar to last year, except that we will try and have more MSQs, which is a new type of question that was started from last year. We will also try and give you slightly more trickier questions this year, so as to prepare you for a harder question paper. I think we mentioned this in the previous videos on this channel also. This year, whether students complain or not, it doesn't matter. We're going to prepare you for slightly harder question paper, because last year for GATE 2021, set 1 was slightly on the easier side, but set 2 was slightly trickier, right? So we want you to prepare for a harder question paper. We don't know what the COVID situation next year will be. So we don't know whether you'll have 2 sets or 3 sets or 1 set. So it's better to prepare for the worst case, right? So we will have all of that. Next is some students are asking about scholarship test. Again, so we will have a scholarship test very similar to what we had last year. So last year, for those of you who don't know, we conducted a scholarship test. For the scholarship test itself, we give all the syllabus. Suppose we have some topics for the scholarship test. All the videos corresponding to those topics and problems will be available free to everyone who enroll for the scholarship test. Right? It's not that you have to prepare from elsewhere. Everything that you need to prepare for the scholarship test, all the videos, practice problems, everything will be available on our portal itself. So you just have to prepare that and attend the scholarship test. Now, in the scholarship test last year, for the top 100 students, we gave 100% course free of cost. Again, if a student doesn't want it, suppose you have somebody in the top 100 rank, somebody doesn't want the course, we just give it to the next ranker. Whoever wants it can reach out to us and say, hey, we announce the list, everybody who wants the course can approach us and we give them full course access. Top 100 students, 100% free. For the next 100 students, it is 50% free. So we will at least have these 200 scholarship next year also, for this year also, I mean. Just like our last year, we'll have it this year also. The reason we are not conducting it right away, there are a couple of reasons. One is because of the COVID spike, a lot of students, their colleges are shut down, their semester got delayed, and their families are not well. I think this is not the right time to conduct a scholarship test. Just keeping in mind a lot of students who might miss it because of the current situation, number one. Number two, a lot of students decide to prepare for GATE only after their current semester is over. Many students who are there in their third year, second semester, or second year, second semester, once they finish the semester, then they start thinking about GATE preparation. So we have conducted these scholarship tests little early in the previous years, and students would complain saying that, hey, I missed the scholarship test. So we want to have everybody who is interested in our course to be able to take the scholarship test, right? And scholarship test itself takes about 15 days of our full-time effort, right? Because we have to design the questions very carefully, unique questions, ensure that our platform is stable, evaluate, avoid cheating, all of that stuff we have to take care of, which is non-trivial. Again, very importantly, even if you're a course enrolled student, right? Even if you're a course enrolled student, you're eligible for the scholarship test. Suppose imagine you're course enrolled today and you write the scholarship test. And let's assume you get in the top 100 ranks. Whatever fee you paid, we will refund that 100% to you. We have done that last year, right? We'll do the same thing here. Course enrolled students who are already paid are also eligible for the scholarship test. Last year, about of the 200 students to whom we gave the scholarship, about 120 of them were already enrolled in the course, right? And we refunded everybody. There were one or two students who said, I don't want a refund, please give it to somebody else, and we gave it, right? So that's one. Next thing is, so we are just waiting for this COVID wave to stabilize, number one. We are waiting for people to complete their third year, second semester, or second year, second semester, so that more people are clear whether they want to prepare for. We don't want any one of the students who are interested in GATE preparation to miss a scholarship test. So that's the reason we are just delaying it slightly, but we will do it for sure, just like every other year. Okay, so nothing changes. So last year we gave for 200 students. We'll try and do 200 or maybe slightly more this year as best as we can. Another very important point that we see here is some of our students, right? So, okay, so this is to people who have already enrolled in our course who ask us questions. So there is a small hiccup. So always, whenever you have a question, it is best to ask in the comment section, because other students also can see your questions. It will help everybody. If you are sending us an email, if you have a query, ask us a question. Once that question is resolved, please start a new thread for a new question. If you keep increasing the thread, right, it will become harder for us to keep track of what you have said, right? Suppose you have a question, you asked us a question, we gave you an answer, you are still not convinced, one more answer, then we call you. That thread is over, just finish that thread. If you have a new question, start a new thread. That's very, very important. Number one. Number two is about query resolution. So very importantly, if you're watching a video, if you don't understand a concept at a specific time, please mention the timestamp in the comment section of the videos or in the emails, because then we know exactly where you got stuck and we can give you a very personalized, clear-cut answer to where you got stuck. If you just ask a broad question, we don't know exactly where you got stuck. Okay, then we cannot give you a personalized answer. Similarly, imagine if you're solving a problem, you got stuck while solving it. Just take a screenshot of your solution, or just take your camera, take a picture of the problem you have solved. Let us know where you got stuck so that our mentors can clarify exactly what problem you're stuck with. If you just ask us, if you just send us a question and say, hey, tell me the answer, that will not help you because you're not improving in your problem solving skills. For us, giving the solution takes very little time. But we are not giving you a personalized solution, which means we are giving a generic solution. That's not very helpful. If we can give you a personalized solution, that will help you understand where you got stuck and how to get unstuck from there. Again, 90% of our efforts for the whole course by the whole team primarily go into resolving students' queries and doubts and questions. It is extremely important and we want to give you personalized answers. So please mention if you're solving a problem, if you get stuck, take a photograph, tell us exactly where you got stuck so that we can help you better, right? Similarly, in a video or when you are solving a problem, please let us know. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's another important thing. Okay, I think I've covered some of the things that I had on my table. So let me just explain this, right? So I think our team is also answering some of the questions. That's always good. So cool. Okay, so Ayush has this very nice question. So I'll start taking the questions from the chat window now, right? So let's go because I've covered whatever few things that I wanted to cover first. Okay, so the test series for GATE 2022 will be launched in mid-June, right? Cool. So somebody is asking, do you have a plan for the ISRO exam itself? Again, if you look at the ISRO exam, we have some interviews of people who have cracked ISRO, BARC, DRDO, etc. We have those interviews on our channel. Please check them out. A vast majority of the syllabus overlaps with GATE, right? So if you prepare for GATE, cracking these exams is fairly straightforward. Okay, cool. So, okay, so there's a flood of questions. I'm not able to even pick a question. So let me just pick questions at random. How much time will data structures and algorithms take to complete if we start from today? Again, data structures and algorithms, the whole data structures algorithms might take you about 3 weeks. For some people, it might even take you 4 weeks, but that's perfectly all right. Again, for GATE preparation, the best time always is as early as possible. You can see it from some of our topper interviews on our YouTube channel. One of the biggest, when we ask students, what would you change in your preparation strategy is they would say, I would start earlier. But there is no wrong time to start. We have had students who started their preparation in September last year and still got a very good rank below 100, even below 300 ranks. There are tons of students who started their preparation even in September. So if you put your heart and soul, dedicated effort for 6 months, that's good for GATE, right? To put it very, very bluntly. Okay, so there is no wrong time, but earlier the better, always. Okay. Okay, so as far as the date of the scholarship test, we have not yet decided. We are just waiting for the right time so that the COVID wave reduces, fewer people are infected. Again, the reason we are depending on this is because we want everybody who wants to prepare for GATE to be able to take the scholarship test. That's we don't want to lose out, or we don't want to leave out anybody, because last year this happened. Like we conducted early scholarship tests. A lot of students would say, hey, you already conducted the scholarship test, can you conduct one more? We have bandwidth to conduct only one because it requires a lot of effort from our team. Almost 15 days of full-time effort from the whole team to conduct the scholarship test, evaluate, and do the whole thing. So we would be doing it mostly only once, but we want every student to be able to do it. So as soon as the COVID wave tapers off or fewer students are sick, and most importantly, as more students finish their second semester, either 3-2 or 2-2 now, we will try and schedule it. We'll keep you informed about the scholarship test. The format, the modus operandi, or the way it works will not change. The date itself, we are still waiting so that everybody can take the scholarship test and nobody is left out. Cool. Okay. Cool. So so please ask your questions. Okay, so this is by Debajyoti Roy. So this question is very important. So Imagine if I'm somebody who is dropping a year for GATE, what should be my strategy? If you're dropping a year, you're committing a lot of time to this. First of all, we recommend you not to drop. Please join in a job and you can comfortably prepare for GATE parallelly, number one. Still, if you want to drop a year, try to put in at least 7 to 8 hours a day. Think of it like a full-time job. That's very important. Okay. And since you're putting in like almost, again, regular student or working professional can only put in 3 hours a day. You're putting in almost 3 times their effort. So first and foremost, commit. If you're dropping a year, commit yourself to putting in 8 to 9 hours like a full-time job. Don't fool yourself. Have a strict schedule. Say, okay, morning I'm going to wake up at so and so time, 2 hours I'm going to study, take a 1 hour break, 2 hours I'm going to study. Be very disciplined in your preparation. Otherwise, this whole dropped year will go for a toss and you would have wasted it. Number one, try and finish all the subjects as fast as possible while solving all the practice questions in it. See, if you're putting in full-time effort, right, you can finish all of the GATE syllabus in about 4 months. If you're putting in 9 hours a day or so, you can comfortably finish it in 4 months. So try to finish it as fast as possible. Solve as many problems. If you're dropping a year, try to finish everything in maybe 4 months, maybe maximum 5 months. Keep revising. Do as many iterations as possible. Solve, like in our course itself, including the test series, we have about 6,000 questions. So you should solve all the 6,000 questions and all the previous year questions for the last 20 years. So if you're dropping a year, make sure you commit to putting in those 8 to 9 hours. Do at least 3-4 revisions, solve 10,000 problems, give your wholehearted effort behind this. That's very, very important, because we do see students who drop a year, they're not serious in their preparation, they enjoy their time. By the time it is already November or December, then they start panicking. That will not help you. Be disciplined with your time, try and finish as fast as possible because it's your full-time job. Revise, practice, practice, practice. Nothing beats that. So this is by somebody whose alias is Darth Vader. He says, does low GPA hurt my chances for IIT admissions? Most IITs and IISc and top universities, for most programs, do not take into consideration your CGPA. So don't worry about it. The most important factor is your GATE rank. Okay, cool. So this is by Srinjay. Srinjay asks, what about the placement course that you have recently announced? So again, we have that introductory video where we clearly explain who this is targeted for. So whether you're a second year BTech student, third year, final year, or somebody who is working, a lot of people, again, this is something that we got from feedback from students, that they prepare very hard for GATE. Some of them get into IITs, IISc, some of them don't. Those who get into IITs, IISc, now they want to prepare better for their careers and their tenure at IIT. Right? Those who don't, they feel that all this hard work has gone down the drain. So for both these sets of students, what we're trying to create through the placement prep, component of GATE plus placement prep is, on top of whatever you've learned in GATE, how do you build additional skills to crack jobs across a wide spectrum of companies? So that, again, remember, GATE is very strong foundation. It's superb foundation. I cannot emphasize how important it has been in my fundamental understanding of computer science, because it has always pushed me. In my own personal GATE preparation, I was a university topper all through, right? But the university exams are, to be honest, trivial. Right? I'm not from a top university or a top engineering college. I was the first batch in my engineering college. So I really messed up my MCET exam and IIT JEE. So I went to a small engineering college. I got humbled. I worked hard. I was a university topper all the 4 years. And I think three years, one semester, I think I was not the topper. But anyways, so, but the university exams are trivial. The GATE exam exposed me to harder problems, right? So that's how my level of understanding, my depth of understanding of the concept improved. And the skills that I learned during my GATE preparation have stayed with me all this while. Today, if I have to design a distributed systems algorithm for some task, I mean, something that I learned in computer networks, something that I learned in databases, something that I learned in data structures algorithms is still stuff that I use every day, even almost like 15 years down the line, right? So please don't think it's waste of time or waste of energy. So it's a foundational skill, so don't ignore it. Okay, cool. So the projects in the placement course, we are just doing those projects right now. We are just trying to get the recordings ready. We will have that ready in about a couple of months, right? So we will, as soon as one project is ready, we will put out those videos in the course and we will send you an email. So there will be about 3 projects. I think we mentioned them in the announcement video for the placement prep part of GATE. So we will anyway let you know that. So we'll try and finish one every 3 weeks or so going forward from May 1st, which is today. Okay. So Amit has a very important question. He got a rank 1376. Do you advise me to drop a year? No, Amit. I mean, I cannot emphasize this. You got a 1376 rank. Most likely you will get admitted into some of the central universities or NITs. So just apply for them, because some of these, even IITs, the second rung of IITs, right? So some of them have admissions based on a test that they conduct. Try to get into one of these masters. If you do not get into any of them, then join in a job, because you got 1376. You know what you lack and what you know and what you don't know. Just focus on those things that you don't know and you will go to a significantly better rank next year, right? So that's almost given. Okay, cool. Again, the interviews this year may be slightly delayed again because of the COVID wave. Like, I mean, I've talked to faculty members at Indian Institute of Science because I also work with the computer science department at IISc on various things. And it's a nightmarish situation because the students are back on campus. There is a huge surge of COVID wave in Bangalore. They're trying everything they can just to make sure that students are safe. So I don't think interviews will happen. Exactly what happened last year might happen this year also, right? Somebody is asking, do you have plans to do this course in Telugu? No. So we don't plan to do it. Again, the English that we have tried to use in most of our videos is very basic, simple to understand. If you don't understand anything, please ask us in the comment section. We'll clarify. So we don't have plans of doing it in other languages as of now. Cool. So can you make a video on MTech CSC 2020 placements? Sure, we will collect the data as best as we can, and Nayan will try and do that. But to put it very bluntly, the placement scenario doesn't change significantly every year. Again, the compensations might go up by 3% or 5%, but the placement situation itself will not change significantly from year to year. Of course, because of COVID, what happened last year, I know this from IISc very well because I worked with the institute, especially the computer science department, on various things. The placements got slightly delayed. Most of the placements happened through online interviews, but the quality of placements and number of placements haven't changed by a significant margin because every company wants top students, right? Akash says, how to be productive whole day. Again, you don't have to be productive whole day. A simple rule of thumb that I would suggest you is try and break your learning into 90 minutes or 60 minutes or 120 minutes. I think we have a video on that, on how to be persistent in your GATE preparation. Please check that. It's a dedicated video on our YouTube channel on how to be persistent and consistent in your GATE preparation. We teach you some very simple strategies on habit forming, etc. I hope that helps you. It's there on our YouTube channel. I think we uploaded it just a few days back. Please check that. So Yash has a very interesting question, which is, do you recommend doing one subject at a time or multiple subjects? So Yash, my suggestion would be pick up, again, we have time before the exam, right? We have a good amount of time. So try to do one subject at a time, finish that subject, finish all the subjects once, then do your revision and practice in groups of subjects. So if you do 2 subjects simultaneously, again, we have seen students who do that. There's nothing wrong with it. But it is very easy to get messed up with the concepts. So at least in most of our students, 95+% of our students, they do one subject followed by the other subject. They don't try to mix up because it can be very confusing sometimes. Because remember, GATE syllabus is vast. GATE exam is not hard. GATE exam is easy to medium. Now you might say, hey, which exam is hard? CAT exam is hard, right? IIT JEE is hard for 12th class students. UPSC, the civil services exam, is very hard. Okay, so GATE typically falls in that easy to medium, more on the medium side, not on the easy side. GATE is more on the easy to medium level questions. Nowadays, more and more it's becoming medium questions which are tricky. right? It is CAT where you see mostly some medium questions and a lot of medium to hard questions. In civil services, you will see hard to very hard questions, right? So it depends. By civil services, I mean UPSC, for the IAS, IPS, all of these, right? So cool. Okay. Again, please don't spam. Please don't spam, because we might have to time you out, because if you spam again and again and again, I'm not able to see others' questions. Please don't do that. Okay. The test series, I think we mentioned it, right? Mid-June. So will a drop year affect MTech placements? Not much. This is by Boydek. It really doesn't matter much, to be honest with you. I mean, nobody cares whether you dropped a year or not before your MTech. It doesn't matter as much, to be honest with you. Cool. Okay. So how can we score good in MSQ questions? Okay, this is by Rakesh. Rakesh, with MSQs, typically what we have observed is MSQs don't tend to be harder. They tend to be easier or slightly on the medium scale of questions. But the interesting thing with MSQs is you have to go through each option. You cannot eliminate. So the most important aspect in getting MSQs correct is your carefulness in reading through each of the options and making sure whether it is correct or not. You can't do the elimination trick that you have in MCQs, number one. And MSQs also tend to test your breadth of knowledge on a concept. Suppose you take a concept like, let's say HTTP protocol in computer networks, right? Lot of aspects related to HTTP protocol can be given in a single MSQ and say, hey, which of these statements are true about HTTP? Then it can also test your breadth of knowledge. So the most important thing with MSQs is you know the concept well, as obviously, but unlike an MCQ, you can't eliminate options. You have to be much more careful. Lot of people lose marks in MSQs because of silly mistakes or because of simple oversight. They think, nahi yaar. They just spend 5 seconds on that option and say, hey, this is not working, so no. But actually, if you think carefully, that might be true, right? So a lot of these MSQs are not hard. They're not even medium level. Most of them are slightly on the easy to medium scale, but they're not even very tricky also. Very often, one of the options, they'll make you fall into a slight trap if you're not careful. So avoiding silly mistakes is the trick to get good marks in MSQs. Cool. So somebody says I got 217 rank and IIT Delhi is not taking interviews. I'm sure they'll come up with an alternative mechanism. With 217, I think you'll get into one of the top IITs, most likely, right? So institutes will come up with some mechanism, just like last year where they could not conduct these interviews and tests. So last year, many of the institutes just took the gate rank and just gave admissions based on that. So they might do something like this. 217, I don't know exactly whether you'll get IIT Delhi or not, but you'll surely get one of the old good IITs. So this is by Ayub Mohammed. I got 2410 rank. I also have a TCS Ninja job. I think this is the TCS digital role, if I'm not wrong. Please suggest what I should do. Ayub, please join in the job, because you got 2410. You know what you know and you know where you're lacking. Put in 2 to 3 hours of consistent effort from now till the gate examination. Nothing is stopping you from getting that rank divided by 10 next year. Maybe even better, right? So please don't drop a year for it. Please join in the TCS role, because worst case, if you don't get a good rank next year, you have 1 year work experience. If you get it, great. Why not? Even in your resume, you still have 1 year work experience, which would help you in the long run, right? So please don't drop a year. Please join in the job. Since you already got a 2400, which is a pretty decent rank, right? It's not such a bad rank, but you have some fundamental gaps in subjects or concepts. Please try to fill those, and next year I hope you'll get it below 240. How many questions should I practice every day? So there is no simple rule of thumb like that, but overall what we recommend is, okay, let's do a simple math, right? So if you're doing 6,000 questions in a year, or roughly in the next 200-250 days, that comes to what? 25 questions a day. I think 20 questions a day is a very good. I'm just doing a back of the envelope calculation. We strongly recommend our students to solve about 6,000 questions in the whole year. Some people I mean, some of these questions will be test series questions, some of them will be mock test questions, all of that stuff. On an average, I think if you're doing, at least at this point, if you're doing even 10 to 15 questions a day, I think that's good. Again, please solve the questions only after you've understood the concepts. If you solve it prematurely, it will not help you, right? So please watch the videos, understand the concepts, look at the solved problems also. We have tons of solved problems already in the course, right? So look at the solved problems on how a problem is solved, and equally importantly, try to practice on an average about 10 questions. But it's not that every day you do 10 questions. It could so happen that you learn all the concepts for 5 days or 6 days. One day you go solve 50 questions. Even that is good, right? So at this point of time, your focus should be more on learning the concept. Maybe 2/3 of your time on learning the concept, 1/3 on practice now. As you go further and further, it will become 90% practicing, 10% revision, or 10% covering concepts that you're not comfortable with by the time you come closer to the examination. Cool. Okay. Okay. This is okay. Can you create a small question, say 10 to 15 questions a day randomly on subjects that are completed? We already have everything organized, right, in the format. So if you have completed a subject, again, I think revision is very important that a lot of people overlook. So that's why what we do is, suppose you have a subject, right? After you cover a bunch of concepts, you will have a practice test. We're also doing these live tests. These are additional questions, right? So solve all of that. Once you're done with it, then the next topics. Once you're done with the whole subject, right, you can tackle a bunch of questions. You can even solve previous year questions, all right? There are a few thousand previous year questions that you can tackle at the end of the subject, or you can tackle questions from the test series, right? So once you're done with 3 subjects, you can tackle these 3 subjects through a multi-subject test, right? So we already have that format structurally organized, right? So I think that might help you in solving. Again, it's not about 10 to 15 questions a day. I think you have misunderstood my statement. I'm saying on an average, right? That's an average. Very often, it's better you learn the concepts for 4 or 5 days, look at solved problems, spend some time, like 2/3 time on learning, 1/3 time on practice at this point of time, in the initial stages of your learning. Okay. Okay. Can we prepare for ISRO written exam with the GATE videos? Yes, Srishti. So most of the ISRO exams, most of the concepts, if not all, are covered in the GATE syllabus. Also, please check out some of the videos that we had from people who cracked ISRO, DRDO, Bob Atomic Research Center on our YouTube channel, our previous students who have cleared that, so that you get a sense of how to prepare for these tests. Please check them out on our YouTube channel. So how to prepare for some PSU interviews? Very simply, most PSU interviews are very similar to GATE level questions, except that in an interview, again, some people have asked us about interviews at IITs, which may not happen this year again because of the COVID surge. But even at PSUs, most likely the interviews are based on GATE syllabus, but in a one-on-one fashion, right? Or you might have a small panel of interviewers. You might have a small panel of interviewers with you sitting on the side. One guy can ask you about the mathematics, one guy can ask you about, it's very similar to GATE concepts, but if you have time, try and go a little bit into the proofs, if possible. Because in most PSUs, they'll ask you conceptually, not so much math. At IISCs, IITs, they might go slightly into the math part. Because professors are very comfortable with math because they do it every day, right? So even in PSUs, just try to revise everything thoroughly for the interviews. They will be very much at the GATE level. They might ask you slightly applied aspects, right? They might ask you why questions. For example, we have seen some students who are asked, hey, why do we have, let's assume, why do we use cache? Why do we have multiple levels of cache? What happens if there is no cache? Again, these are stuff that we have covered in our applied GATE course, because we try to ask these questions in the course. Because in the applied aspects, right, whenever we are covering a concept, we ask, why are we learning this concept, or why is this concept there? If it's not there, what happens, right? So some of these things are already covered in the course. So please revise that and you should be good to go. Cool. Yes, Shravan, very nice. So while conducting live sessions, could you also focus on problem solving skills? So I think third, which is 2 days later or 2-3 days later, there is a whole dedicated session on tricks that you can employ to improve your problem solving skills over a period of time. Number one, for every live session, we will spend some time on how to solve those problems in those concepts and how to avoid silly mistakes. We will surely cover that. Okay. I mean, that's something new that we're trying to add in live sessions this year. Yes, so all the live sessions, I will be one of the primary instructors. We might also add new instructors for these live sessions, but I will be doing a vast majority of them. How much time is ideal for learning each subject? Again, depends on the subject, right? Some subjects take less time, some subjects take more time. You might be more comfortable with some subjects, right? So for example, if you already are very good in data structures and algorithms, then you might spend less time with it. If you're already good at C programming, you might spend less time. But on an average, again, these are averages. I think you can complete a subject comfortably in 2 weeks, maybe maximum 3 weeks. If you put in the dedicated effort, I think you can complete it in 2 to 3 weeks. Again, some subjects might take more, some subjects might take less, depending on the breadth of the subject also, right? Like for example, compiler design might take very little time because you already have learned everything in theory of computation, right? Similarly, digital logic design, it's a smaller subject. You can finish it in like 2 weeks, maybe even less. Cool. Should we practice maths regularly with the current subject as a dropper? Again, this is by somebody whose alias is Mr. Bug. Again, if you're dropping a year, if you already know these subjects, you can always parallelize these subjects. But we still recommend do one subject at a time, do it thoroughly. Once you finish all the subjects, then group them into logically, like all of engineering and discrete maths can be grouped into one chunk. Solve that. It's better to do that because it's more structured and easier to manage in your head. But we have also seen some students who use aptitude questions as a stress buster. That's a neat idea, because a lot of people miss out on aptitude practice at the end. So you might say, hey, I'm very tired today, or I'm exhausted. I want to do aptitude because aptitude is fairly easy in GATE, right? So that's a strategy that you can employ. So is there an interview process to get into IISc? This year, those interviews may not happen, but for some programs at IISc, there will be an interview. For not all programs, but for some programs. So Ranit asks a question, should I solve previous year questions more than once? That's a very nice question. So when you're solving problems, right, this is a standard strategy that I would recommend you employ. Read the question carefully, try and draw the diagrams, whatever diagram is needed for it. Try and first time when you're solving the question, don't be in a hurry to solve it in 1 minute or 2 minutes. Speed will eventually come. First, what is important is, have you seen a similar problem in the solved problems? Do you have all the knowledge to crack this problem based on everything that you've learned? First question. Even if it takes 10 minutes, 1 hour, try to sit on that problem. It is perfectly okay to get stuck in problem solving. It happens to every one of us. But if you suddenly, suppose you got stuck solving a problem, okay, you know where you got stuck. You can always reach out to us and we'll help you if you're a course enrolled student, obviously. Now, otherwise, one other thing that you can do here is, don't try to just look at the solution immediately. Struggle with that problem. Let that problem simmer in your head. That's the only way you build the problem solving skill. Looking at answers will not teach you problem solving skills, right? Even after letting it sink into your head, even if you're not able to solve it after a day, check out the solution. Perfectly all right. Now make a note of what you missed, why you couldn't solve that problem. Is it a silly mistake? Is it a fundamental gap in your knowledge? Try and go back and revise that concept. That's very, 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 very important. Just a second, please. I'm just looking at some. Okay. Okay. So there is also a question from the chat window that my team has collated. So I will answer that also. I think a lot of people are asking this question, so I'll get back to that. Okay. So when you're solving these questions, so take time. If you get stuck, that's okay. Everybody gets stuck the first time they solve it. When you're solving previous year questions, make a note whether you made a silly mistake, whether you had a conceptual gap. Go back, revisit that conceptual gap. Why you could, again, it's very, very important to diagnose why you could not solve that problem. Because only then you can fill that gap and avoid missing out such a question in the future. Maybe 2 months or 3 months down the line, just make a note of all the points, all the previous year questions or questions that you could not solve. 3 months later, try and tackle that question again. Or maybe a month later, try and tackle it. Now, when you go after a month or after a couple of months, after 3 months, you don't remember the solution. So you're trying to solve it again from scratch. That's a better strategy. Solving the same question multiple times will not help. Try and solve questions. Whatever you could not solve, go back to it. Fill the gap, go back to it after a while so that you don't remember the solution by heart. Remembering solutions by heart, remembering things by heart will not help you in GATE. I cannot emphasize this enough. Okay. Cool. What is the order of questions? So Suhas, our suggestion is in the course, right? For every bunch of concepts, you have practice questions. Try to finish that. At the end, you have subject tests. Try to finish that. After you finish the subject test, if you have time, go back to previous year questions. That's what we recommend. Cool. So this is by Gautam. Gautam says, I have covered 7 subjects. I was able to score consistently about 9 to 12 marks out of 15 in practice tests because every question is 1 mark. When I see the notes now, I'm not able to grasp it fully. Perfectly. Good, Gautam. Very nice question. Very apt question also. See, remember that you got a pretty decent score. Even if you're getting a lot of toppers last year, just got 40%, 50% marks in the practice tests. That's perfectly all right. The reason you're not able to recall the concept is you're not revising them. The simple strategy is this. Every week, suppose you learned a bunch of concepts in a week. End of week, try to have 1 day for revising everything that you did that week, number 1. At the end of a subject, revise the whole subject, practice questions. Again, practice or revision through practice questions or revision through solving previous year questions is the best form of revision. Nothing beats that. That's a super duper important, right? Number 1. Now, once you revise the whole subject, after you finish 2 or 3 subjects, again go back to the subject. Again, the reason I'm focusing so much on revision is because GATE syllabus is super duper vast. Again, it's not as vast as UPSC civil services exam, but it's vast as compared to other competitive exams like CAT, IIT, JEE, etc. So because it is vast, you need more and more and more revisions. So again, this happens to all of us. This happened to me when I was preparing for GATE long ago. It happens to all the toppers. This is a very normal behavior. Don't worry about it. Just revise. Okay, cool. So Ayush says, it's also a very apt question. If the test series is starting from mid-June, how do I now do the test series? Because I've not completed many subjects. Again, once the test is open, you can take the test at any time from the day it is open till the examination date. It's not that you have to take the exam then and there itself. For example, suppose there is a subject test or a multi-subject test that is made ready today. You don't have to worry. You can take the test today or you can take it at any time before the examination. So that's perfectly all right. Don't, as and when you complete a subject, take the test. Cool. Okay. So Nitish says, what subject should I choose for GATE preparation? Nitish, we have a detailed video on our YouTube channel on how to score 55 plus marks in GATE CSE 2022, where we give you a detailed list of subjects and the order in which to prepare those subjects. Okay. Please check that out. Okay. Again, this is same question by others also. Please check this video called how to score 55 plus marks. This is also there on our website. Let me just show you this. Gate.applied routes, blogs, learning strategies. Yes. So these are all the topics that are there. Look at this. So this is the order that we are recommending. If you go down here, so again, this is gate.applied routes, GATE CSE strategies, etc. Start with TOC compiler design, then go to DLD. Or this is the order that we are recommending, right? And there is a reasoning for it. Please check the other video that I was referring you to. Please try and it's there on our YouTube channel. The video title is how to score 55 plus marks in GATE CSE 2022. That will help you. So Dilip says, can you give us some suggestions on how to tackle NAT and MSQs? I'll surely do that in the coming sessions when we solve these questions, right? There's no point doing it theoretically. I'll do it in the context of the questions themselves. Okay, cool. So, okay, what is the ideal time to complete full syllabus and start test series? This is by Gulzar. So Gulzar, don't wait to finish all of the subjects to start the test series. That's the first important thing. So once you finish a subject, if there is a test related to that subject, go take it. Again, that's why we have embedded practice tests and subject tests in the course structure itself, because we want people not to do all the theory once and practice later. No, that's not how it works. And there is no wrong time to complete. Like, we know people who have completed their GATE preparation in Jan, some even late Jan, and got a rank under 200, under 300 last year. So there is no wrong time. Try and complete as much as possible. Once you complete a subject, try and take as many tests from the test series related to that subject as possible. That's the best strategy. Again, remember, we have for course enrolled students, we have 2021 test series and 2022 test series. Right now, 2021 test series is already available. So you can take 2021 test series, maybe in your revision, because revision through practice is the best form of revision. Because at the end of the day, in GATE exam, you have to solve problems. It's not a theory exam, right? So as and when the GATE 2022 test series is open from mid-June, you can start taking those tests also. But please don't do the theory first and then problems later. That will not help you. Try and intermingle them as we have done in our course structure. Please don't postpone practice till the end. There is nothing that is a worse strategy than that. No, the test series will be available only on desktops. Okay, so it will not be available on mobile phones. It will only be available on laptops or desktops, because the actual GATE examination is also on a laptop, or it's on a desktop actually. So we're trying to simulate that so that you get comfortable with writing the exam in a computer-based system, right? So it will all be desktop/laptop based. So, okay, so this is Pandita. She says, I'm getting slightly lower marks in practice tests. How to keep my confidence? Remember, Pandita, the simple rule is people who got under 200, 300 ranks last year, some of them got only 10%, 20% marks. The examination is not tomorrow or day after tomorrow. You have about close to 9 to 10 months now, right? This is May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, Jan. 9.5 months. Close to 9.5 months that you have before the examination. In 9.5 months, you can improve significantly, right? And intentionally, we have given the practice test problems slightly on the trickier side, intentionally, because we want you to prepare better while you are learning itself, right? Intentionally, we have given it, right? Because we want you to prepare for a slightly harder paper than a trivial paper and get overconfident. So that's why we always say, even if you're scoring 40% marks in these practice tests, that's a good sign. If you're not scoring that, go back, revise. See, again, it's very, very important to diagnose why you're not solving a problem correctly. Do you have a conceptual gap, or are you making a silly mistake? Fundamentally, two things, right? If you have a conceptual gap, go back to the videos, watch them, see the solved problems, and then come back, right? That's a strategy to follow. Again, don't get demotivated. Remember that there are tons of people like you who have worked their way towards a good GATE rank by consistently working on it. If you give up now, game is over. Fight it out. Again, the fight is mostly with yourself very often. So, okay, one second. This is Ashish has this question, which is all the videos and material provided sufficient to crack the exam? Yes. So we have had a lot of discussion on this, as and when, like last year, there was a few additions of syllabus to GATE. We added those concepts as soon as possible. There are a few very good constructive feedback from our students. For example, some of our students asked us, can you add additional videos on how to delete from a B+ tree, which I think is lacking, to be honest with you. And we take all constructive feedback well. So I'm just working with our team right now to add more videos on covering B plus tree deletion now, right? Similarly, somebody suggested us to teach some tricks in solving problems. So we are also, our team is creating the notes. Again, it's a very collaborative effort that we all work on and we do it, right? So that's something that we will again, as and when we add anything new to the course videos, we will email you. As and when we add, let's say 3 or 4 videos, we will email you saying, hey, we added new content based on student feedback. Okay. But again, remember, we will take feedback as long as we believe that it is constructive for everyone. So some students just say, hey, why don't you add 200 more hours of content? That's not helpful. Then nobody will complete the content. By the way, GATE syllabus is anyway fairly vast. We want to keep the syllabus tight so that anybody can sit and finish the whole thing in 5 to 6 months if they're diligent about it. We don't want to just keep adding things unnecessarily. But if there is a genuine good feedback like the deletion in B plus tree, we will surely add that. Because we feel like when I go back and watch the video, I feel that I could have done it better. So we have done this last year also. We will continue to do it this year also. So, okay, so this is by Mallikarjun, who says, I want to take GATE plus job. Okay, so how do I balance both of them, right? So Mallikarjun, even if you're working in a full-time job, you will be able to squeeze in 3 hours a day, right? So again, there is a video that we have put out, which is how to be diligent and persistent, how to be persistent in your GATE preparation. It's there on our YouTube channel. Please check that after this session, please. So a simple suggestion is this: you might be working 8, maybe 10 hours a day, right? That's the max typically. Try to avoid social media and all the unnecessary stuff. Try and cater 2 hours in the morning, maybe 1.5 hours in the evening. Dedicated effort for GATE preparation. Morning time, try to absorb the concepts. Evenings, you can practice questions. Okay, this is a simple strategy that you can employ. Try to put in 3 hours regularly. Weekends, if you have time, try to put in slightly more time during weekends if possible. But even if you put in 3 hours a day, you can comfortably finish the whole GATE prep. Again, you'll see from a lot of the interviews from last year's students who are actually working professionals who cracked it. And all they've done is roughly about 3 hours of effort on regular basis. Of course, as you come closer to the examination, you will tend to put slightly more time. But simple rule is morning 2 hours, evening 1 to 1.5 hours. It's a good start. Okay. Yes, so for an average student, I think 3 to 4 hours a day is a good amount of time if you're putting it in for 6 to 7 months. That's a good amount of time for GATE. Again, there are some questions about the GATE plus interview prep, GATE plus placement prep course. Again, I think I've mentioned this earlier also. This course has been specifically designed so that students who are preparing for GATE, all of their learning can help them in cracking better jobs, whether they go to IIT or elsewhere. Or if they even don't crack GATE, all of the learning that they have, they just need to build additional skills. For example, competitive programming or some projects and things like that. By building these additional skills, you'll be able to crack better jobs in a wide spectrum of companies, from IT services to product-based companies. So the foundation that you've built in your GATE should not go wasted. It should help you even if you crack GATE or if you don't crack GATE. Like we have a lot of students in top IITs, IISc, etc., who reach out to us and say, hey, how do I prepare better for my placements, either for a machine learning role or for a software engineering role, right? So we try to help them on multiple fronts. We also work with some of these top universities on various fronts, including IISc. So based on those learnings, we believe that a lot of students who crack GATE, they have the strong foundational skills, but there is still a gap that they need to learn and build on to get into top product-based companies or even good product-based startups. That's what we try to fill with the placement prep course. Cool. Okay. So is IIT Roorkee not equivalent to other IITs? Again, Manish, again, this is a question that a lot of students ask us. It really doesn't matter. Let me tell you why. I'll give you data and justification for it. Let's assume there is one student who goes to IIT Roorkee or some NIT. Okay, one student on this side, right? There is another student who goes to IISc or IIT Bombay, the top universities. right? At the end of the day, both of them will get companies like Amazon, Google, all the top companies, all of them will get it, right? For their placements. Now, if you study well during your 2 years and crack, let's say, Amazon or Microsoft or Google or one of these companies, does it really matter now whether you studied at an IIT Roorkee or an NIT or IISc? Nobody cares. Like once I got into a job, nobody cared where I studied. People only asked me, do you have this knowledge? Can you crack this interview? That's it. Who cares? Like when I joined in machine learning roles, a lot of people said you need to have a PhD to grow as a machine learning scientist, to become a senior scientist or a principal scientist and all of that. But things change, and I built and I learned the skills that are needed to be a senior scientist or a principal scientist or a manager, whatever is needed. It really doesn't matter whether I have a PhD from a top university or not. The same with this. In the long run, your university will not play a very big role. In the short run, yes. In the short run, if you go into an IIT, you have a choice, you have a chance of interviewing at top companies. But that is there even whether you go to IIT Roorkee or IIT Madras or IIT Bombay or IISc. All of them have the same thing. Same companies go everywhere, right? We had one student, I think this is before 2 years back, the very first batch of GATE. He got into NIT. He was, I think he joined NIT Surathkal. He was very, very reluctant to join. He said, I'm not joining, I'll drop a year. We said, no, please join. And he got into Amazon now. So is the outcome any different? Had he gone to IISc also, he would have joined the same Amazon, same role, same compensation, everything same. So in the long run, as long as you're working hard, it really doesn't matter. Okay. So how many test series will be good enough? This is by Jaideep. Instead of counting the number of test series, I would recommend that you think about it in terms of number of questions that you've solved. Right? It's better to solve about 5 to 7,000 questions, I think is a good number to solve, because then you have solved a lot of questions, you've gotten tons of practice. Right? That's what I would recommend. Again, folks, since this is a public live session, there are almost like, I saw a number of over 400, even 480 who are joining this live session. It's almost impossible for me to answer all the questions. Anything that I could not answer today, feel free to email us. Just go to gate.appliedroots.com. We have our email address and phone number. Please shoot an email. We'll try and answer as many questions as fast as possible. Okay. Unfortunately, it's impossible to answer all questions in this. Like by the time I read a question, there are already 5 questions in the chat window. So I may not be able to answer everything. But our team is very well versed in answering these questions. And again, please remember, it's a huge team effort. A lot of people think it's one person or a small set of 2 or 3 people. No, it's a fairly large team that works very, very hard. Again, 90% of our effort goes in helping our students clarify their doubts via email, via comment section in our videos and things like that. So all the best anyway for your preparation. Please try to join these live sessions. The schedule itself is there in the description section of this video. Please try to join them. You can plan your preparation accordingly so that we all can have a lot of fun solving these problems together. I enjoyed it last year, even before last year. It's one of the most exciting slots of my schedule in my weekly calendar, because I enjoy solving these problems with students because they teach me a lot of new things also. Okay. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.